Alright, in this video we're going to finally use the mouse or the array list to draw some things. So we need to add one more piece to the add stroke method, and that is just we're going to call, well, let's do that later. We're going to add a couple different methods to draw things on our image. Now this method, paint component, hangs the image on the screen, but we need to draw stuff to the image using our G2 tool, which knows how to draw on the actual image itself, not just on the panel. So again, to reiterate, G knows how to draw on the panel, G2 knows how to draw on our image. So we're going to just create a method called public void draw. And this method is just going to do two things. It's going to draw a background of white, which we haven't created that method yet. I'm going to do it in a second. And then it's going to draw all of the brush strokes that have been added to our array list. So we need to create those two methods now. So we're going to add a public void draw background method. And all this method is going to do is set the g2.setColor to color.white for a nice white background, color.white. And it's going to fill a rectangle with that color, fill rect, from 0, 0, the top left corner of our image, to image.getWidth and image.getHeight. So this draws the background of white, and then on top of that we need to draw all the strokes every time through the loop, or every time somebody does something. So public void draw strokes. And now we are just going to iterate over our array list with an enhanced for loop. So for tool t strokes t.draw with G2. And let's see, so we have our two helper methods and we have draw, and so now under add stroke we're going to call draw, which draws our image. This method draws on our image, and this method repaint calls paint component, which then hangs that image on the screen. So to reiterate, what this does is every time the mouse is dragged, it calls add stroke. And whenever add stroke is called, add stroke looks to the mouse event to get the X and Y position. For the time being, it sets a default value of 20 for the width and height that it's drawing at. It looks to the options window to get the tool red, tool green, and tool blue values. It creates a new color object of those with those values. And it adds a new circle tool. For the time being, we only have circle tool to our array list called strokes. Then it draws all those. It does draw. So this constructs the image, constructs image, and then it calls repaint, which hangs the image on the panel. So let's see if I did all this stuff correctly. Here's the big test. So if we did all this correctly, we should actually be able to draw on our panel. Let's see, did I do something not correctly? I did. There's some mistake I made. Alright, let's look. Let's try and find the mistake together. Alright, so there were a couple issues. The first thing is that the buffered image, so when I created the buffered image, you declare a new one up here. But then I accidentally declared a new one down here. So this image that was associated with the graphics tool is not the same image that was being hung on the panel. The other thing I forgot to do was when we were drawing all the strokes, we have a method called set attributes that we actually need to call every time we're drawing a stroke. Because the way I have the system set up, we're going to be able to it's just for efficiency with respect to the inheritance. It's set up this way, but anyway, we just need to call set attributes. And if it's not clear why, we need to send it G2. All the tools attributes are all going to be dealt with in the same way. So I just added this to the superclass, the abstract class, so that we wouldn't have to repeat it every time we created a new tool. We'd have to do like set all the attributes here. It's really not a big deal, but anyway, that's how I set up the system. You can play with this and make it your own system if you like. One final thing that we're going to do is change also this tool X and tool Y, how it deals with that. If we run the program right now, it will actually work at this point once you change the buffered image and add the set attributes thing. So you can see, once our program loads, that, I'm just kind of biding my time here, I'm sorry. It should actually accept input now, so we can draw on our canvas and we can change the color of it, and it's all correct. But if you notice, the mouse is at the top left corner of the thing that we're drawing, and that's just kind of weird. So the fix for that is to change it so that our superclass tool, when it takes the X and Y given to it by the mouse, what we're actually going to do is say X, we're going to subtract the width divided by half from the X coordinate, and the same thing with minus height divided by 2, not divided by a half, divided by 2. And this will place the mouse in the middle of the tool with which we're drawing. So if we run it again, you should notice that, in fact, now, if you look closely, the shape is drawn at the center of the mouse press. And so that's plenty for this video.